afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to these solution sessions on small hydropower. It is called a new approach, small hydropower technical services for sustainable energy in developing regions. So as you are aware, small hydropower is one of the renewable energy. It has a very long history. For some countries, already more than 100 years. But they are still using this technology to solve the problem as one of the key renewable energies. So in this regard, as a mature technology, but unfortunately have not yet fully applied in somewhere, especially for developing countries. As we learned from just this morning, the publication about the World Small Hydropower Development Report, still have 2/3 of potentials untapped. So this is mature technologies, and we need it. But sometimes, we can say, still lack of the energy for access to, to energy, especially for globally, just highlighted, during the opening remarks by the TG and also by our key speakers. So 600 million people are yet to access energy. So how can we solve the problem? We really need to take some action to find solutions. So small hydropower, of course, is one of the solutions for our future for the developing countries. So now today we'll talk about this technical service package. Why? Just because for some countries there are still lack of technologies. So they are still need some technical support. From UNIDO, in the past decades, we're working very closely with our partners. Sorry. We'll talk about this technical service package. Why? Just because, okay, thanks a lot, yeah. So we work with our key partners, International Center on Small Hydropower, together for many years, working together for developing this report, and also technical guideline for small hydropower, make sure this technology can be applied and used for our member states, especially developing countries. And furthermore, so we also need some technical support substantially. What we can do. This technical service package is just provide some solutions, just as the title of this forum. So we provide a solution and to see how these methodologies, these toolkits can be provide concrete and direct support for small hydropower development in developing countries. So that is why we gathered together as a very special session for small hydropower. Even so, maybe not like other topics, very hot, but this one we can say is magic, is helpful, and also is useful for our member states, especially for developing countries. So I'm very proud we have some very important guests and colleagues here to be with us, to share the experiences and also share about this what achievement UNIDO for this case. So we will have first speaker, Mr. Eva Kremia. So Ms. Eva Kremia has been working with UNIDO for 6 or 7 years already. And before he was working in International Center on Small Hydropower. He's really very expert on small hydropower. And also he is coordinator for the World Small Hydropower Development Report for 2022 edition. And also key player for this technical service package. So I will be happy to invite her to introduce what it is of these technical development services and how can we use this one for our member states, for our developing countries. Eva, please, it's your turn. Oh, yeah, it's okay. You can have it.
Where is my clicker?
This one?
Yes.
Okay. You're right.
So, yeah, my name is Eva Kremere, and I'm editor
of the Small Hydropower Technical Development Services and technical expert from UNIDO. I'm really glad to be here and present you this amazing report, publication, a new approach what UNIDO has developed in cooperation with International Center on Small Hydropower. So today's lecture is about launch of Small Hydropower Technical Development Services, or SHPTDS. So what is Small Hydropower Technical Development Services? It is our response to increased renewable energy demand. It is almost 30 years of collaborative partnership with International Center on Small Hydropower, and it is a comprehensive service package for small hydropower development. So why we are unique in this regard? It is tailored made service packages for specific objectives. It's addressing specific needs of member states. It's collaboration with the key partners and international donors, and comprehensive skill set from concept to implementation. And as you can see, I don't know how this works, like this. This picture there is our publication, where you can learn everything about 6 modules and the services it includes. So let's go further, and I will introduce you what exactly the service package includes. So as I mentioned, there are 6 modules, and each module has a number of services. Okay, this is how it's going back. Yep. So the first one, okay, this pointer doesn't work, is assessment and demand analysis. Second one is policy support, institutional strengthening. The third one, it's capacity building. And the third one is based on technical guidelines, what Ms. Hu will present in next presentation. The fourth is scaling up small hydropower projects. It's actually our ultimate goal to have technical projects on ground. Fifth is financing and investment, the risking. So you can have amazing understanding what exactly you need in the country. You can have perfectly aligned policy, trained professionals, and feasibility study. But if you don't have financing, you cannot go further. So we are also helping to solve this issue. And the last but not the least, communication and outreach. Here's the structure. We kindly suggest or motivate our member states to consider exploring their needs by taking the first module, assessment. It establishes baseline. You understand where exactly you need to dig further, so we can go further to the rest of the 5 models. It's policy and capacity. It's essential goal number 4, scaling up small hydropower projects, and it's finance and outreach. So let's see one by one. Model 1. Importance of Model 1 is its basis, establishes situation. Let me read through all the services it provides. You will understand how comprehensive our approach is. Improving national electricity system development plans, improving national energy security, analyzing distribution of hydropower sources, evaluating climate change risks, analyzing potential for small hydropower development, rehabilitation and improving existing small hydropower plants, enhancing policy, regulation and financial instruments for small hydropower, surveying social, economic, environmental demand in given area, analyzing small hydropower demand for rural industrial application mini-grids, investigating social attitude towards small hydropower, ensuring availability of local expertise, enhancing gender balance and youth involvement in the sector, As you can see, all the services here are really holistic and approach so then we can go further to all other models. What exactly is included in each of the services? It's really detailed description in the publication available online. The Module 2 and 3, policy and capacity. Module 2 has 10 services, while capacity has 7 services. Our essential goal, module number 4, you maybe are more, it has 8 services and it starts with feasibility studies, supporting the development and bankable proposals, sharing small hydropower proposals with investors, accessing the potential investment, investigating possibilities for industry application, creating matchmaking platforms, supporting the implementation and demonstration projects, supporting scaling up of small hydropower projects in the country. Module 5 and 6, finance and outreach. So what is our recommendation and takeaway points? Our target audience is developing countries with small hydropower potential. We have modular use, but you can pick and choose from all the services. You don't need, if you take one module, you don't need to take all the services. You check what is most useful for you, for the specific case, for specific country. And we are really willing to come and discuss with countries and make a tailor-made specific approach for the specific country. In conclusion, I want to thank for your attention, for you coming here. And please check what we have online. It's a really interesting publication. And I hope that you'll have a comprehensive discussion later on. And looking forward for your input and comments and way how we can improve. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your very clear inside presentation. Indeed, this service package is just our trial to provide the one-stop solution for small hydropower development. For some countries, maybe they say, okay, 0, I have nothing, so we should start from the modular 1. That means from problem identification, demand and analysis, and then to see how can we go with the potential there and how can we work together. And follow up, if of course, for some countries, as we know, they already do a lot of feasibility study, etc., and for a very good concrete basis. So maybe have some investment issues, so we need some investment de-risk analysis, financing mobilizations, so that is another model. And of course, for capacity building, for communications and outreach, for which one is really needed for your country, that is here we can find it. So anyhow, this all I said is the first trial. We just want, based on what the technology we provided, and later on, how can we have this service package furthermore, maybe later on, 1 year, 2 years, a couple of years later, we should develop a handbook. It say anyone, technicians, and also decision makers with the handbook, they can find, oh, let me do. I want the small hydropower, this smaller but beautiful. How can we find this useful for my country, for my region, for my community? So that is what our target. But with this one, of course, it's based on the technical guidelines that provide 4 standards guidelines for small hydropower, how they can use this one for developing small hydropower. That's the technical basis. It's very important. So now I would like to invite Xiaobo who is the multilateral division chief of International Center on Small Hydropower, one of our key partners for small hydropower worldwide. So please introduce the technical guidelines on small hydropower development, please.
Thank you, Professor Liu, for the introduction. So, this one. Well, good afternoon. So I just give you a very brief introduction about the technical guidelines for the smart hydropower. So the technical guidelines developed by INSHIP and UNIDO provides standardized and best practice frameworks for smart hydropower projects up to 30 megawatts. So compared with the input from about 80 international experts and 40 agencies, so it facilitates the efficient planning, design, and operation and management of smart hydropower projects and ensure the sustainable development. So these technical guidelines are available on the UNIDO website and currently in 3 languages, in English, Chinese, and Portuguese, and the French and Spanish versions should be coming next year. So the technical guidelines could be divided into 5 key aspects. The first one is the terms and definitions. So they provide a standardized language of smart hydropower, which facilitates this easy communication, understanding of the technical terms and definitions used for smart hydropower projects. And the second part is the design guidelines. So they provide this standardized approach to the entire development cycle for smart hydropower projects, from the site selection to the financial appraisal. So the design guidelines aims to achieve the best design solutions, and by considering factors such as the hydrology, geology, and these energy calculations, as well as the social and the economic assessment, etc. And the third part is the unit guidelines, so which specify the technical requirements for these various smart power components, such as the turbines, generators, and the excitation governing systems, as well as the monitoring and the control systems. And the first part is the construction guidelines. So it serves as a technical guidance document for this construction phase of smart power projects. And then is the management guidelines. So they provide this technical guidance for the management and operation and maintenance and technical renovation, as well as project acceptance for smart power projects. And here is a framework of these technical guidelines. You can see under these 5 key aspects, there are a total of 26 chapters. So next, let's look at how these technical guidelines can contribute to foster the sustainable development of smart power. So I think the first one is to optimizing this efficiency and the reliability. So implementing this in a standardized way and with best practices, so facilitate those efficiency and reliabilities. So this this results in the optimized generation capacities and the reduced energy wastage, as well as a better alignment with the sustainable energy targets. And the second one is to mitigating risks. So following these technical guidelines helps reduce and minimize the risks associated with smart hydropower projects, so including the technical, financial, and regulatory uncertainties. So this creates a safer investment landscapes, which potentially leading to a more favorable financial conditions, which is crucial to achieve the sustainable development. And the third one is facilitating knowledge sharing. So these guidelines provide various provides as a resource for various stakeholders, including the project developers and government bodies, as well for this local community, as well to promoting the knowledge sharing and the capacity buildings. So it is particularly beneficial for countries, in developing countries with limited technical and institution capacities, to helping them attract more investment and to formulating supportive policies as well as to foster economic growth. So the technical guidelines also contribute to this ongoing work of the developing international standards for the under the ISO TC 339, which is the newly approved technical committee dedicated for smart power by ISO in 2022. So currently there are 11 participating countries and 17 observing countries for TC 339. And we warmly welcome the new member countries as well as expertise to join us together to work together to shape this global standard. So I think together we can contribute to the sustainable and equitable development of smart hydropower. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Isabel, for your very clear and excellent presentation regarding the technical guideline. So as I mentioned, the technical guideline, of course, is the basis for technicians to develop small hydropower with all technologies supported. So that is what now is, that was already endorsed by UNIDO, but furthermore, having with this as a base and also integrated to the ISO standards system. So there's a TC 339. That is fully supported from UNIDO and ICTP work together based on our technical guidelines. So this one will be the standard for whole small hydropower development worldwide. Furthermore, of course, and also just as Shoba mentioned, so far it's that's the start point. We need more supporters. We need cooperation. So if for member states would like to join the technical committee for the 339, they are always welcome. But of course, no matter how based off the technical guideline or service package as what published, but of course we need start from the from the country where they really need these technologies, they really need this service package. So we are proud today. We also have our panelists from Nigeria and from Burundi, and also from our Green Global Network for Sustainable Energy Centers, and also we have a participant online, representative online from Cameroon will join us for panel discussion. First, I would like to invite Mr. Ochingbo, and Director of Director of River Basin Operation and Inspector Tate, Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation. And Mr. Ochingbo is also, responsible and also take responsibility for river basin management in the Nigeria and for many small hydropower development, especially river basin areas. It's your turn. Okay.
My slide? I don't need it. It's okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for introducing me, and I also want to appreciate UNIDO for inviting me to this platform. I would like to, first of all, appreciate UNIDO for the great work they've been doing in Nigeria. We've been able to investigate some sites, several sites in Nigeria through the support of UNIDO. And they've also been able, they also set up a regional center for small hydropower in Nigeria, which is providing services, capacity building for Africa. Today, I would like to share with you an overview of the progress we have made in Nigeria. And I want to first of all say that Nigeria has a huge water resources potential. Our surface water potential, as verified and documented in the National Water Resources Plan, is 333 billion cubic meters per year for surface water and 157 billion cubic meters per year of groundwater. And we have various sources where we have this potential from several streams, a large network of rivers in Nigeria. We have several dams, about 400 dams in Nigeria, with total impoundment of 70 billion cubic meters of water. A number of these dams are for multipurpose use, including hydropower generation. With respect to renewable energy, Nigeria has also developed a renewable energy master plan, which was developed in 2011, and we have targets. And the first set of data there is just to give you an overview of our plans. The total contribution of renewable energy currently is just about 16% of renewable energy to total electricity generation in Nigeria. And by 2011, when we developed this plan, our target up to 2015 was 13%. And 2025, which is in 2 years' time, we plan that we will renewable energy will contribute up to 25%. And by 2030, we also plan that we will scale up to 36%. That is for total renewable energy. Unfortunately, currently as I speak with you, the contribution of renewable energy to total electricity generation in Nigeria is just 16.4%. And this is due to several challenges. With respect, particular emphasis on small hydropower, we have not done much. We also have this plan, a target of 2,000 megawatts up to, by 2025. Total verified potential of small hydropower in Nigeria is 3,500 megawatts. This was documented in the master plan of 2013. I believe that with more data, when we get more data and do the review, the potential will be more than this. But currently, it's about 3,500. And we have only been able to develop about 100 megawatts. That is very, very abysmal. But this is due to several challenges. And with all our efforts, we have some hindrances. Some are internal, and others are due to what I call dependencies. We have largely depended on foreign expertise for a lot of our work. And so, indeed, that is a challenge. We want to change the narrative, and we can only do that by building our own local capacity. UNIDO has been very helpful, and we still look up to you for more support, and we hope we can change the strategies, look at the strategy we have adopted, and to see that the pool of experts that we have trained over the years, will be able to keep them, and be able to use them. Because I am aware that a number of Nigerians have been trained by UNIDO, by International Center for Small Hydropower in China, by HRC in China, and there is no platform where we can network with them and make use of them for local operations and services. So, the second challenge too, because UNIDO also assisted Nigeria in setting up a regional center for small hydropower, for scaling small hydropower development in Nigeria and Africa as a whole. But that center also has a steering committee. That steering committee has members drawn from relevant agencies in Nigeria. And I happen to be a member as well, but I have observed that they've not really, the steering committee has not done well enough due to a number of factors. The fact that they don't meet regularly, sometimes it's once in a year, that's too long. They should meet frequently, and their roles should be well defined. They should be able to, take decisions and then strengthen their oversight to be able to see what is going on. Another challenge that we have is funding of SHP projects. Of course, Nigeria's economy is dwindling, like many other countries of the world, and so there are priorities. And SHP doesn't seem to be in the top list of priorities. That's why we also want to advocate for policies that will, give more emphasis to SHP. And equipment there's an equipment challenge as well, because the cost of importing this equipment, they are foreign components, and it's very, very expensive. And so we need, there is inadequate financial support, and then minimal private sector participation. We have a lot of money with the private sector in Nigeria, and we need to unlock it, but many of the investors are not aware of the prospects in the SHP business. So there is need to still work more with the private sector to popularize this technology and showcase the business benefit that is in it and attract them to this subsector. Yes, the SSP TDS, I want to start by commending UNIDO for this very important work. I saw it online last week, and I flipped through, looked at the content, and in fact, it's a very, very rich document. It's a very strong tool that will unlock the potentials of the small hydropower, especially in developing countries. I have seen it, and I want to commend the authors, all of those that have contributed to that document. I believe it's a document that has come out of their field experience, because it's something that will be very applicable as a manual for field operations. I've seen it. And so this is the major challenge, really. The first major challenge is not finance, it's not funding, but technical capacity. It's a big problem for us in developing countries, in Nigeria, I can say. And so with that document, I believe that we can do a lot on our own with minimal assistance, even from foreign experts. And so we just want to start by commending your team for that good work. So with Nigeria, is very, very relevant to us. The relevance to us is the fact that we still have energy deficit, a very huge gap, and so we need to develop our resources. SHP is one of them. So it will be very, very handy. The document will be very handy. And what we need to do is to customize it and then tailor it to our specific context. Secondly, I see that it has several benefits. It will enhance policy making and investment, attract investment. It will enhance local experts' capacity, and then it will also be a good manual for training, for conducting, conducting training even at the local levels. And then also improve public awareness and stakeholder buy-in. That will be needed, which means that this will create more awareness about SHP, and then there will be buy-in and offtake. People will be able to pick up this document and take up businesses in SHP. The effectiveness, how effective it is. For it to be effective, there will be need to implement this, the services, the guidelines that have been documented, there will be need to implement it. We have a number of beautiful documents like this that are on the shelf. People don't read it, people don't use it. So we must popularize this document. Having produced it, we need to go down the country level, local level, get the people, the experts that need it, and hold workshops and disseminate the knowledge in this document and popularize it and let them own it. I think that's one of my recommendations. Going forward, and how do we improve SHP in Nigeria? How do we advance it? I believe that effective governance of SHP projects requires clear responsibilities. One problem I've observed from our own experience in Nigeria is the lack of collaboration and proper coordination amongst agencies that are responsible for SHP and hydropower as a whole. We have the Ministry of Water Resources in Nigeria. We also have the Ministry of Power and other ministries, environment. Currently, the collaboration is a bit weak. There is need to strengthen that. And then give clear responsibilities to these agencies. That is one of the internal challenges that we have, and I think we need to look into that. Adequate resources. It will require adequate resources. It requires consistent communication, like we're doing today. We need to be consistent about it. And then empowered oversight, like I said, people that need to, like the steering committee of the regional center, that need to provide oversight, they need to be empowered. And then widespread knowledge dissemination of this document. So, if I want to speak to the regional center again to say that maybe the terms of reference, that need to take a look at that terms of reference and clarify the roles and the responsibilities for all the parties that are involved, and then adequate funding to ensure that the steering committee and other groups have the resources they need to perform, and then regular meetings, as I said earlier on, and then there is need to empower the steering committee, provide the committee with more oversight capabilities to make them more influential and effective, and then popularize the use of the technical guidelines and the TDS, especially in regions with limited capacity, and to enhance their local knowledge and application. So adaptation of the TDS for policy formulation, for capacity building, for site investigation, and other technical services to facilitate SHP development. These are some of the recommendations that we have, for advancing our efforts in SHP in our country, and I believe that it's also applicable to other countries. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ochingabo. So for an excellent presentation, that would not only bring us about the Nigeria potentials about small hydropower, but also with very great comments and also recommendations for the TDS, Technical Development Services. Yes, as we learned, we cooperated with your country for many years, and especially when we established the Regional Center for Small Hydropower, and we started our cooperation for small hydropower, and also your country had very ambitious target for 2,000 megawatts small hydropower development by 2025. But unfortunately, so far, it's only 100 megawatts has been developed. So that's we know what's the gap. Why? So you just mentioned there's a capacity building and the technologies, availabilities for local people participation. So I think this is very, very key issues. So that is why we developed these technical guidelines. We developed this service package. That means to give the opportunities for local people to participate, to be able to do by themselves. So that's a Chinese idiom says they give the fishers better than give the fishing and better than the give fishes. So that is really very important. We just want to teach the people to do it, to engage, to help, and to work together. So that is very good, and I really appreciate. So anyhow, later on we will have more discussion with our participants. So I would like to move to the next speakers is from the Burundi, Mr. Martin Ndiazi, so Director General of Energy, Ministry of Hydraulic Energy and Mines. Dr. Martin, Director General, is Doctor of Electrical Engineering and Energy Production, and he was appointed as Chair of Board of REGDISO, that's the regular committee of the national level, and also the Director General of Energy since 2019. So, floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I'd like to come to my presentation. Okay, thank you very much. As it has been announced, I'm from Republic of Burundi, small country of East African countries. The country is now developing the access to energy and has his national plan of electrification of all population of Burundi. Instead, rural electrification, because we have seen that by now we have only 4% of access to energy of rural population. Our Burundi hydro potential is estimated to 1,700 megawatts, in which 400 can be exploitable. According to that, we have around 156 potential hydropower sites which has been identified. In it, 29 existing sites to be occupied. So now 15 hydropower sites have been evaluated, as well at the support of UNIDO and Jeff, at the funding by Jeff. In that, we have evaluated the potential mini-grid sites by the support of VIDA, Village Data Analysis. There we have found that rural population can be supplied by small hydro power plant. If we see the mix of energy generation, we have hydro is coming up to 44%, and other sources of energy as well you see on the table. For thermal, you have 32%. So in the coming 2 years, we are planning to avoid the utilization of those 32% with the substitution with hydro power plant. That's why with our national plan since 2010, we are now developing hydro power plant at around 100 megawatt to substitute this source of thermal energy to use more than 90% of renewable energy. The small hydro power development has been initiated by developing the Burundian law, because before it was a big challenge to allow private sector to invest in hydro or in energy generation. So by 2015, we have changed our national law of electricity, in which we have allowed the private sector to invest in the energy production. By the electricity law number one /13 of 23 April 2015. And that law is now under review, in which after it will be adopted by Council of Ministers, it will allow again the private sector to invest in the distribution sector. The challenges of development of small hydro is as it was said by my previous, is the technical capacities. So instead of developing projects, we need to develop technical capacities so that the Burundian themselves can make their own project. The second that I can say is the lack of investment from the foreign investors and the private companies, because sometimes we find that the small hydropower are not affordable when you are developing. The cost of money is becoming higher than the recovering amount. That's why the subsidies are needed to develop the small hydropower projects. So another one that I can point is the policy and the regulation framework, which was not developed in the last years, but for now is ongoing, and we hope that in the coming days to invest in energy in the Republic of Burundi will be simple and will be very well supported. So. And another problem is the problem of studies. If we in our country, there was a problem of the availability of studies of small hydropower sites, because developers were coming in our country and asking, give me the studies of this project so I can invest in it. And we say we have no studies, so you need to start by studies and go to development. That's why we have take this issue on a serious purpose. That's why we have identified the sites, and now we are looking how to make studies, and when the studies will be available, so we can give to different funders to fund those projects. As a technical development services for small hydropower plant, I wanted to say that it is a good tool which will help us to develop small hydropower in Burundi, as long as all stakeholders will aware and involved and will committed to the small hydropower technology by using this tool. And our suggestion for improvement, in order to improve the small hydropower technical development services, we could develop and implement a national electrical plan, which is now ongoing, by putting in the front the rural electrification. So in more than 80% of rural electrification, we want to do it with small hydro power plant, and it will be in the mixed with the solar resources. To perform stakeholders engagement, implement a strong framework, policy and regulators, develop a plan to encourage the small hydropower technology and transition to sustainable energy sources, make law for investing in the small hydropower basis mini grid projects clear and simple by reflecting the need of investors, to adopt and implementation international accounting and financial report standards, set up the cost-effective tariff in accordance with the pricing principle that have been established by regulators. So, as I said before, because the tariff of small hydropower was not affordable, and the national tariff is very small than the project affordability. That's why now we are looking how the tariff of small hydropower can be different to national tariff, so that investors can be interested in those projects. Thank you very much. And I would like to point last that we have put in place our national fund for rural electrification. In that fund, it will be supported by everyone. So that fund will be developing the rural electrification by using small hydropower plant. So if investors will come without funds, so national funds will be available to fund those projects. That is the new approach, which was not there before. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Martin, and for your sharing the good news. That's a fund for support small hydropower. That's very good because for Burundi, I know that's LDC, one of ADC countries. They really made a great effort in the last years since 2019. Yes, okay. Because they change a lot, especially for public-private participation law. So that makes great impact for private participation to the national project. So that is really a lot of change. And also, I highly appreciate you suggestion and recommendation about this TDS, so Technical Development Services, because of course, with this technology, with this service package, we will use it for some member states. Now we can start from the Burundi, Nigeria, for Cameroon, etc. And of course, we need to test, as I just mentioned before. So we hope later on we will improve and enhance it as a handbook. So that is say, for small hydropower as a mature technology, not only just say benefit for some countries already very successful in Europe, China, Japan, and many countries, but we hope it will be also very helpful, useful for developing countries, especially for African continents. So thank you very much, Martin, and I really appreciate it. Yeah. And our next speakers will be online from the Cameroon. Ms. Jeff Marilyn, she is a senior staff of Ministry of Water Resources and Energy Cameroon. She is also one of thematic for yours. So that is really very good contribution to the Small Hydropower Development Report, and also she will also bring her experiences for small hydropower in Cameroon. So please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Liu. I don't know if you can get me.
And also, she will also bring her experiences for.
Can anyone get me?
In Cameroon. So please. Yes, we can hear you. Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. So I'll be talking about Cameroon's small hydropower sector. And before we dive into that, looking at the electricity sector in Cameroon, we have over 1,500 megawatts of installed capacity, of which more than half of that comes from hydropower, mainly from large hydropower. Currently, we do not export or import electricity, but with the plans, we plan in the near future to connect to Chad and Nigeria to export electricity to these countries as we improve our electricity generation. As of 2020, the electrification rate was 65%. And of this, the rural access rate was just 25%. This indicates that with small hydropower, we can, of course, electrify the rural areas and improve the development of those areas.
Ms. Chaff, excuse me. Sorry to bother you. May you turn off the stream you have on your computer, because we can hear it as a background coming through.
This indicates that small hydropower. Sorry, I didn't get you well.
If you have a YouTube on, the stream comes through and we can hear it as a background. Sorry to bother you.
I do not have any other connection on.
Computer, because we can hear it as a background coming through.
Can you check that? Sorry, I didn't get you well.
If you have you maybe have a YouTube recording or somewhere. We can hear it looping.
No, there is nothing on my laptop for now. There is nothing on, just the presentation. Let me check that.
Right.
Maybe
Then we continue. Then we
Yeah,
continue.
please
Please
continue.
continue. There's you maybe have a YouTube recording or somewhere.
Oh,
you can hear it.
sorry about that. Is it better? No, there is nothing on my laptop for now. There is nothing on, just the presentation. Can you hear me better now?
Yes, much better. Please go ahead.
We continue. Then we continue. Please continue.
Okay, sorry about that. So like I was saying, the small hydropower sector in 2017, the International Hydropower Association was able to specify that Cameroon has over 200 small hydropower potential sites. And up to date, as of today, less than 2 megawatts have been exploited. And this is just the Mbankao small hydropower project, which was commissioned in 2021. That is the first in over a decade, And there is also the 2.9 megawatt in Gasona plant, which is under development, which has been halted due to the ongoing crisis in the in zones of the country. There are other smaller projects being developed by NGOs, like over 20 kilowatt plants for Chwari. There is also the 2.9 megawatt in Gasona plant, which is under development, which has been halted. Then, from the World Small Hydropower Development Report, it identifies 4 sites which are available for investment in the country. And given that the country targets 5,000 megawatts by 2030, I think that small hydropower is going to play a very major role in that. Then, from the World Small Hydropower Development, then talking about the barrier for small hydropower, it identifies 4 sites. The main barriers that we have are lack of detailed assessment for small hydropower potential, just like in other countries, as it has been presented by Nigeria and Burundi. I think that also lack of funds for small hydro development. There is the need of capacity building. It's very and that is why I think the technical development services is a very important tool. And also there is lack of mature projects. But with these barriers, we have great enablers. The potential for small hydropower is high. And also the policies are also being developed. And that is why I think so now, looking at the small hydropower technical development services, I got this last week as well, and I had the chance to really look into it. I think I want to applaud UNIDO and the International Center for Small Hydropower for developing this tool. It's really an explicit tool, and it's just comes in time to help developing countries to improve their or advance their small hydropower industry. So about the suggestions for improvement for this technical tool, it is very explicit, but I think that if we can add more visual aids, such as maybe tables, maybe at the level of activities to be carried out after the activities are presented, we can like summarize them in short tables, so that it is not just all literature like reading. I think it will be more captivating, and it will help the users to follow the procedures better. Then also, even though it is really detailed, I think that it will be important that we include like the template or for the training modules, because the sections where we have capacity building, where we need to train the users, train the policymakers, train the local communities. I believe that UNIDO and ICSHP can share examples from projects they've implemented in other countries or in other contexts, which can help us to really understand how to develop the training modules, because the capacity building part is really important. if the trainers who will be training the users or training the communities do not design the content of the training modules really well, there is going to be really big problems with the knowledge transferred to those that need to be trained. Then, like mentioned, it will be also helpful if the technical development services includes case studies from other projects, maybe at the end of each section on activities to be carried out, like explain what has happened in other contexts concerning that particular section. It will really help with the developing countries to really master and really use these tools very well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jeff, for your excellent presentation. As you will not only bring the background information about the Cameroon, but also give very concrete suggestions about this TDS. That's true. Yes, we really need to practice this document. It's not only just document; should be a really useful handbook and also tool for future for small hydropower development within developing countries. You will not only bring the background information about the Cameroon. Oh, it's also duplicated here. So maybe now, Jeff, maybe you don't need to still online, but just keep on the what is on the screen. Yeah. Also for future for small hydropower development within developing countries. So it's to speak twice. But anyway. Thank you very much again, and for Jeff for your contribution. So next speaker will be my colleague Mr. Martin Lugmaya, who is an independent development expert and coordinator for Global Network of Sustainable Energy Centers program. Martin is responsible for about how many? 10 regional centers working together with us and with UNIDO, but also we have very close cooperation with also International Center on Small Hydropower. I'm very proud to know, so Martin also encourage the centers to work together with us for small hydropower development, as we understand with consensus that small hydropower is very important for all of us. Martin, please share your experiences with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I will try to put up the presentation. I think it's already here, so I will try just to go to the next slide. Yes, that's I am. I'm Martin. I think Heng has already introduced myself. I will go straight into the presentation. Basically, I will highlight, and I think here's the close link what particularly the experts from Africa have mentioned. The main problem is not the financing. The financing should be there, either from private sector, domestically, from foreign direct investment, or from public sources. And there's a lot of concessional financing also around. The main problem is the local capacity. What we hear always from development finance organization is we have a lot of financing, but we have no pipeline, we have no projects, we don't know how to go forward, the regulatory framework is not in place, and so on. So there are many soft barriers which hinder the investment in small hydropower. And to create this necessary capacity locally, you need tools which are available. And actually, when you look what is available in Africa regarding small hydropower tools, it's not much what is available. No? We have that in many other regions, like in Asia. Asia has done, over the past decade, fantastic work in some countries on small hydropower. There are a lot of tools available also. Sri Lanka, there are quite a number of countries, but it's not available in Africa. So really we have to, and here I want to emphasize the importance also the cooperation with the Small Hydropower Center in China is this South-South and triangular cooperation is just so important that countries locally in the global South work together, exchange their experiences, and then you have very competent triangular partners from outside bringing the knowledge and bringing the expertise. But they're just bringing the expertise. Who is in the forefront? Who has the ownership? Must be the local level, must be the countries. Like we heard today, also it was mentioned, I think several times, that consultants are coming from outside, taking the knowledge, and then they're off, and nobody knows where the studies are. So we have to stop that, and only with that we will come to a significant investment also in Africa regarding small hydropower. And I think I want to link up to the conversation, to the speeches we had today in the opening of the conference. So it was several times mentioned that we don't have enough investment going into renewables. We need 4 times more investments going into renewables. And then is the question, to which renewables? So we stand now 1 trillion of investment, US dollar annually in renewables, but 80% is solar and is wind. And the portion for small hydropower is quite small. And also this funding is not going into the global south and is not going to Africa. It's going somewhere else. It's a very small fraction which goes there. So if this additional 3 trillion of US dollar goes now to Africa, to which technologies? And here also small hydropower has a very important role to play. That part, a significant part of this is small hydro because the potential is there. With that I will go into the presentation. I will just present briefly to you the global network of regional sustainable energy centers and create the link to small hydropower. I will tell you something how South-South and triangular cooperation can address the small hydropower barriers jointly for the benefit of all. And then I will just also tell how we could work together through the regional centers to roll out the small hydropower guidelines. Just some background. Over the past 10 years, UNIDO, together with the government of Austria and the regional economic communities like ECOWAS, SADC, like the East African Community, we have established these regional centers, which are in the ownership of the regional economic commissions. Some of you, I know Nigeria, you know ECRI, ECOWAS Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency and so on. And through this network, we are covering in the meantime 113 countries, and not only Africa, but also major parts of the Caribbean islands, of Central America and so on. And these centers accelerate the energy transition from the region for the region. So this regional element, the South-South cooperation element is a very important one because the country work with each other to progress and address the barriers which exist for the renewable energy and energy efficiency market, including small hydropower. So small hydropower is a very important element. In all the centers, small hydropower is a many of the countries the GenSec is working, they're having huge potentials for small hydropower, which is not used so far. So here you see, in Africa only, as mentioned before, only 15% of the small hydropower potential is basically used currently. Our regional centers work all over Africa, so they're covering the entire Africa continent. So again, this is a perfect opportunity to work together, South-South triangular cooperation, bringing the tools, for example, like the small hydropower guidelines, where we have cooperated already, to the African countries and learn from each other. I just put here up what the centers, which objectives these regional centers have. They usually want to accelerate the energy transition by helping each other, from support from the region for the regions. And usually they try to create a market for renewable energy and energy efficiency products and services. This market perspective is a very important one because we have a demand side and we have a supply side. And the supply side, again, hints to the local capacities. You need a critical layer of local companies which are able to provide these services locally. And if you don't have, and I know that is a big challenge in the small hydropower sector, you don't have many local companies which deal in the local hydropower sector, which can deliver spare parts, you can do repairs, which can do the operation. So we need also to have a focused support, particularly for entrepreneurs. And here we have to connect science also with the entrepreneurs. So I think these barriers were mentioned already, what hydropower are facing. No, this is institutional coordination, was mentioned by the colleague from Nigeria. Different ministries have to work together. Policy, regulation and standards. Very often there are no schemes, no incentive schemes, particularly for hydropower entrepreneurs which want to get active. Very often there are no schemes for entrepreneurship and innovation. Also, we have a digitalization. There are increasingly digital tools available for the small hydropower sector, which are not used and which are not used in Africa particularly. And basically, these barriers, South-South and triangular cooperation, can contribute a lot because there are just many experience from other regions already regarding small hydropower, and this experience we should bring also to Africa. And these regional centers, together with triangular partners like from the center from China, or also there are some, for example, there's a small hydro empowerment network which has done very good work in Asia, helping Asian countries. They have accumulated a lot of knowledge regarding a small hydropower development in the Asian countries. This can be used also for Africa, and we have to bring it there, and South-South triangular cooperation is a very good tool for doing so. So basically what is needed to be done is creating a bridge between industry, government, science and finance, global north and the global south. And through this regional, through this network of centers, we can contribute to them. I will not go into detail of that, it just shows again where usually the centers are working. They're working on policy, knowledge management, always through regional methodologies. I wanted at the end also to maybe to showcase an example which has worked to some extent, but the results were not so like they should have been, let's to say. Together with the ECOWAS Center, we developed, I think it was 8 years ago, a small hydropower program where, because many ECOWAS countries have a lot of potential for small hydropower and they face these capacity challenges. So basically it was a full program which should have been implemented over 5-6 years. Our main problem is we didn't get the financing for this program. The main problem, because there are very unfortunately not many donors who support such projects, in particular not for small hydropower. Everybody is interested in other technologies, so we need to address this challenge a bit. We have to advocate more for small hydropower, and I think this has to be done also by the governments. When I look, for example, at who is advocating for small hydropower, although many countries are interested, but even in the international organizations, when you look at the IRENA, International Renewable Energy Agency, they have not done many reports on small hydropower. They just started recently to do I think there are 2 reports or something. So I think jointly we have to advocate for this, that small hydropower is more on the agenda again of the renewables. And because they face also similar problems like other renewables, so there should be not support for small hydropower. And basically this, under this program, there was developed a potential assessment on regional level for the entire ECOWAS, which has identified also the sites in cooperation with the governments, and this information is also available, so there are concrete sites also with investment data available which can be accessed. Also we worked with my colleague Heng on the technical guidelines, and we are organizing continuously joint trainings also on those guidelines. But generally I have to say that this program unfortunately did not have that results what we expected to have, so we will try to do a new start basically with a new program. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Martin, for your excellent presentation and bringing us so really a lot of information regarding this regional centers working together regarding the small hydropower. And I also would like to take this opportunity to thank you very much because we joined hands to translate the technical guidelines to Portuguese. And also with also your support, your team, and we have another editions in French and Spanish should be available, as Joseph Shobo also mentioned. Indeed, I fully agree with you to building bridge between the center to center and also from the government to the private participating technicians, etc. All, of course, should be connected because only when we join hands, work together, then we can find a solution. So that's the technical guidelines and also technical service package is just bringing opportunities for our cooperation. But of course, that's not only the internal cooperation, but also globally cooperation and working together for small hydropower. So thank you very much for bringing us this very helpful and useful information. Before inviting the panelists on the stage, I would like to first invite Mr. Bakar, so who is the director of Ministry of Power. As small hydropower, as you know, we not only just say the power, but also water and also power. Mr. Azubakar is from Ministry of Power, so I would like to get you response and also comment what we are discussing about here, especially if you have something regarding Nigeria, because from your colleagues, Mr. Ochingo.
Thank you, Prof, for inviting me to the stage to just make a few comments. But the panelists have already dealt with the matter. And I have to say that small hydropower is, when you consider the SDG goal 9, 7, and 13, deals with that aspect. And small hydropower development is very important. And UNIDO has come with a very important document, which you unveiled for us today. We saw it, and you have done a very great job in that aspect in promoting small hydropower. As rightly said, small hydropower has not been on the trumpet of transition. Even from ECRI, from all the stakeholders, it's of recently, just like Irina you mentioned, they just started. It happens that I am the focal person for the ECRI, that is ECWA Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency. We have never discussed on hydropower. Now that you have mentioned them here, I will draw their attention so that we see how we are going to collaborate with UNIDO and also with the sister agencies in the Ministry of Power so that we can develop hydropower. Just like my colleague mentioned, we have done a lot of study for a very long time with UNIDO and some other development partners, and even within the ministry, we invested a lot on studies on small and medium hydros, especially small hydro. Whenever development partners come for studies, I will open my cupboard. You'll see the whole cupboard filled with studies. I tell them that we don't need studies now. We don't need PowerPoint presentation. What we need is small power plants on renewable, especially small hydros. So right now, as we unveil these particular reports, when I get back, I will discuss with my Honorable Minister. We have a new government in place. And also, I would like to urge UNIDO in Nigeria to approach the Honorable Minister and tell the Honorable Minister what actually UNIDO is doing in the area of development of small hydro, so that the political leaders will also focus their attention in that direction, so that he can now collaborate and discuss with his, colleague in the Ministry of Water Resources. Because when you look at most of these ministries, it's water and energy, but Nigeria is not the same. We power, we are standing alone. Water resources, they are standing alone. So the leadership has to come together so that we can share values to develop this for the benefit of our people. And I want to tell the gathering that Nigeria just signed the new Electricity Act in June 8th of this year. Mr. President just signed the Electricity Act, and that has already opened up the space in development in the electricity industry. The states, local government, private sector, and federal now is open. The state, they can now set up their own independent regulatory body. That, the transmission is owned by government, distribution and generation is privatized. So the state now can build a generation plant and be embedded to the distribution companies since the distribution is privatized. So the states now, they can go with set a regulatory body which is being mirror of the federal regulatory agency, that's the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Agency. They can now build a power plant, and now with the distribution companies, or they can identify embedded generation within to supply. And when you look at with the potential of hydropower we are having, that is a very good welcome development, and we are going to work hand in hand with our sister agencies so that we make sure that development of hydropower is key. And the thing that bothers me, and I want to get clarification from Prof, the tariff is another issue for us in Nigeria. Because sometimes when you see the amount of money you will put in developing this small hydropower, if an investor now invests, now for him to recoup, the investment within a reasonable time, the tariff has to be higher. But notwithstanding, from the mini grids through solar that we, based on the mini grid regulation, we build a lot of solar off-grid solution. We saw that people will think that the rural people don't have money to pay for electricity. But once the supply is there 24/7 for them, you see them that they prefer paying as much as up to 200 naira per kilowatt hour to avoid, the crisis of running to the urban to go and buy fuel, maintenance of generator, and takes a lot of time. But for the hydropower investment, the money is there globally, the technology is there, but from our own end, as we normally used to mention here now, about the technical expertise and also the cost-reflective tariff, that when you build that asset, how the investors within a reasonable time can invest. That is where now we are looking at, based on the new Electricity Act, with the regulators and also the states. Very soon, when I get back, we are going to have a stakeholders of all the state governments and all the players in the Nigerian electricity industry, so that we sit down and look at those critical areas, so that we come with. Sorry for taking your time. I am ending up here, and I am happy to be here at a short notice, and this is a very important program. I have learned a lot, and we are going to collaborate with my colleague to make sure that with UNIDO, so that we come and get some viable projects that in very short time we can deliver and show that yes, hydropower, small hydro has come to stay, and that is the way to go for the transition of energy we are talking globally. Thank you, Prof. I'm very grateful for coming here.
You're right, very much, Mr. Thank you very much. Indeed, you did a very excellent job, and also your collaboration with the Ministry of Water Resources makes great contribution for small hydropower development in Nigeria. I also very pleased to inform you we are working with the EU. We are developing a new project. It's with 5 million euros for small hydropower development in Nigeria. So furthermore, we will still continue focus on the small hydropower development in Nigeria. As we know, you have ambitious target. You still have a long way to go. But of course, this technical service package is only just one of our efforts. But we are also working with GenSec, with Martin's team, and also all our partners. So try to find solutions, not only in Nigeria, Cameroon, Burundi, but also other developing countries in Africa. So indeed, we really have a lot of things to do, and thanks a lot for your support. And we are really appreciating in the very short notice, but you are finally with us today. So now, we still have about a couple of minutes. I would like to invite all speakers, panelists on the stage. Maybe our colleagues or audience will have some questions in case. Yeah, please, joining us. So, Xiaobo and Martin. Okay. Jeff is online. I don't know whether how can see. So now I would like to open for questions. Yes, make just comments. Okay, pretty. So any questions from our participant and here or what? Oh, Xiaoping, please. Yes, Ms. Lee is our colleague from UNIDO. Yeah, she's currently working with our team. More or less related to small hydro, but also mainly focus on hydrogen, just a previous talking. Please, it's yours.
Thank you, Professor Liu. I'm not the expert on small hydropower, but I'm quite impressive about the presentations and the country cases. And I have a question to the Director General from Burundi. Since you mentioned the potential funds, is it the right time you can share a little bit more information about this fund and to see whether we could promote further cooperation together, involving UNIDO and working for the Burundi? Thank you.
Okay.
for the national funds, we have come to see that if we will be waiting for external funding of projects, it will be very difficult to increase the energy access. That's why we have changed our policy. So in our policy, we have included that we have to create the fund, a national fund, which will be supported by government of Burundi, and in which all partners can bring money, put in that fund, and that fund is dedicated to develop rural electrification by developing small hydropower, solar power plant, and the electrification of rural areas will be quickly done. Thank you. So we have a target up to 2030 to have up to 70% access to electricity. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. So any more questions from our audiences? Participant here? It means very clear to all of you about this technical service package. So thank you very much. Now, if no more questions, I would like to give the question to all panelists for each. Maybe just the same question is say, what your expectation for the technical service package to be applied in the future? What you foreseeing, what's your expectation? How it can be benefit to all member states? Maybe start from Eva, yeah, please.
I hope that technical development services will be the go-to publication and tool for member states to solve their issues. We are open to come and discuss with them all the challenges and opportunities small hydropower has. So I think that it is a great opportunity for small hydropower to be scaled up. Thank you.
Thank you. Martin?
Technical development services will come as the tool to open eyes for the developing countries. So they will be using it to open the space of development of small hydropower plant, and it will be helpful when the companies, when the governments will be reading that tool, and it will help them to understand how to be involved in a small hydropower plant.
Thank you. Yes. Xiaobo?
So I think that the TDS could be demonstrated, maybe piloted in 1 or 2 countries, and then later on more and more developing countries could benefit from the TDS. Yes.
Thank you. Yes. Martin, another Martin.
Okay, from the regional view, I think it would be very beneficial to translate it as fast as possible in other languages, and then what I could think of that we can create a community of practice basically in all the regional centers, and then have starting with regional trainings, for example, using these guidelines.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. My concluding thought on the technical development service is to say that, first of all, Nigeria has a huge water resources potential and a small hydropower potential, but this is largely undeveloped. And for us to be able to unlock this, I think that the TDS is a powerful tool that Nigeria can use to unlock this potential and also stimulate her economic potentials. I believe this is applicable to other developing countries too. And so the immediate action that I think we need to do now as the drivers of this process is to see how we can cascade this knowledge to the experts at the country level. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Ochungo. Now we have, don't forget our online, this Mr. Jeff. What's your final comments, and also just recall on my questions, please.
All right, thank you very much. I think that the TDS is a very powerful tool. It's definitely going to accelerate the implementation of small hydropower projects, especially in developing countries such as Cameroon. If it is correctly adopted and correctly exploited. And also it will be important that the TDS are reviewed as time goes by. They are reviewed and upgraded to adapt to the different local contexts that we'll find ourselves in. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Yeah. So thank you very much, all the panelists, to give very concrete suggestions. Yes, okay, please, Mr. Azbeka. Yes, yeah. Okay.
Also to add.
You started.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Also to add, I am just talking from Nigerian context. Just as mentioned, we have a lot of potential and we have done a lot. I would love UNIDO also to unveil this particular document in Nigeria by inviting all the critical stakeholders. For example, the Ministry of Power, Water Resources, Energy Commission of Nigeria, Nigerian Transmission Company, even the regulator itself, to now form a mini conference where all of us will gather, we unveil this particular document, and now analyze the document in a way so that it will be very clear. And the reason that is to promote small hydro development in Nigeria, so that everybody will have the buy-in, so that we own this document as a country. That is the best that can happen. Than the two of us will go and begin to talk to different individuals. If that is done, it will really, really, really expose that document to the all sector and strata in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your concrete suggestions. Yes, indeed, very, very helpful. So I would like to finally thank you all panelists and speakers. You bring a lot of knowledge to us and also give very concrete suggestions. Definitely follow up. We organize trainings and also translation for different language, as Martin mentioned, because we have GenSec, we have a lot of centers globally, 24 hours we can working together, as you mentioned. And also, of course, we still need to go to practice and to test, and then follow up. We will provide very strong and helpful tool for solving the problem we are facing. So thanks a lot for all participants here and also people online. And I'm very glad to be with you all, and we're looking forward to cooperation in the future.